Welcome to a very special edition of the Open Jaw Pink Couch because we have as our guest the Open Jaw editor, Lynn Elmhurst, who is not just the Open Jaw editor, but Lynn has her very own cruise show on none other but PBS.
I'm Lynn Elmhurst. I'm a travel journalist with a deep passion for sailing the high seas. My most cherished travel experiences have been by water, the spectacular scenery, fascinating ships, and maritime traditions you can only experience when you cruise. When the whole world went into dry dock, I bided my time by diving into my library of footage to relive some of my favorite travel memories on the world's greatest cruises.
So this is a huge coup for one of our very own in the industry, not just Open Jaw, but of course for the industry. And Lynn, you have to tell us all about this, how you achieved this, what the show is about, and where we can watch it.
Thank you, Nina. For me, even this started, as many things in the world have, this started before COVID. It was really a passion project for me. It was my love letter to cruising and to cruise travel. And COVID really only made me more committed to making it happen, because if there's ever been a more important time to get the good word out there about cruising, to show the best of cruising and cruise travel and what really makes people passionate about it, the unique lifestyle, what really brings out the best in the cruise industry and people who love to cruise like I do. And there could never be a better time for that. We really need that out there, and to have good news about cruising and great stories about cruising out in the world in front of an audience like PBS. Today on World's Greatest Cruises, exploring glaciers and gold rush history in Alaska. The very best way to experience America's last frontier may be by sea. Sailing from Vancouver up the Pacific Northwest coast to Alaska, along the inside passage of islands, fjords, bays, and inlets into small ports of call, many with no land access, is a cruise treasure trove of wildlife, adventure, natural wonders, and fabled history, where cruise guests like us can still get a taste of Gold Rush frontier history from over a century ago. It's on PBS, so it's working its way through the national network. And of course, for people in Canada, almost every Canadian, if you have satellite or if you have, most television, your cable or satellite network will give you the PBS station or stations that are closest to you. Every PBS station across the country is airing it at different times, and they're still starting. Some of them are close to wrapping up this 10 episodes of season 1. Some of them are just about to start it in September. So I'm afraid it's going to take a little bit of hunting for people possibly to find it. But they can also always go to www.worldsgreatestcruises.com, which is a great URL. I'm so lucky I got that URL. And you can watch trailers for each of the 10 episodes. So there are 10 half-hour shows in season 1, and cruise travelers, or armchairs cruise travelers, aspiring cruise travelers can watch shows about Regent Seven Seas Cruises in Alaska, AMA Waterways on the Rhone River, on the Danube River in Europe, Seabourn Cruises in Canada, yay! So French Canada on Seabourn, Scandinavia and Scotland, South America, Silver Sea. So there are 10 episodes in season 1. So mid-COVID, we decided, hey, it's clear I'm not going to get cruising anytime too soon. So I was able to sort of go into my vault and create season 1 out of the vault. And so there are some wonderful episodes and wonderful moments there. And I'm hoping that people will watch the show and fall in love with cruising and fall in love with cruise travel in a way that I have, which is about celebrating the best of what cruising can be about. And so whether people have cruised before and feel that, maybe I should go to Alaska, or maybe I should try a luxury small ship cruiser, I haven't tried river, it just inspires them to travel. And I'm hoping, of course, as well, that there will be a great halo effect for the entire cruise industry and for the trade. Whenever anybody, you can inspire and reach people and inspire them about travel and cruise travel, I think everyone benefits. So I'm hoping that all ships rise with the tide, as it were.
So, world's greatest cruises
Mhm.
is what they look for. Clearly, from the lines that you've mentioned, it is clearly about luxury cruising,
It's about
certainly
world's
higher
greatest
echelon.
cruises. And so in season one, well, I'm always looking for stories. I'm a storyteller, as you know, from Open Jaw. I'm really always hunting for good stories. And so anybody who has a really great story, that's where I'm willing to go in season two. Season one from the vault, and it did skew luxury. And we're always going to end up with the greatest stories. So wherever the greatest stories and what I can look at and say, hey, that's a world's greatest cruise. And of course, it's about so much. It's not just about the ship. It's about the experiences on the ship. It's about the destination and the experiences in the destination and what sort of brings it all together and makes it magical. It will skew upscale for sure, because I often find that's where a lot of the most unique and memorable and great video storytelling, moments are for sure. Mhm.
Now, you mentioned the trade, that you feel that there will be a halo effect
Mhm.
for the industry. Everything you do supports the trade, all of your various jobs and roles and hats that you wear. For those who aren't necessarily familiar with a PBS audience, it is absolutely tailor-made for cruising. So let's talk a little bit about that.
PBS is, first of all, non-commercial television, so it's a bit of a different audience. PBS is viewer supported, so they're very passionate viewers, and their own research shows that PBS viewers are much more engaged viewers. They've already opted in to the entire network. This is they feel ownership of it, and so they also feel ownership of the shows that they see on it. So that engagement and that commitment to the network is something that no other channel can really boast. In addition to which, has been voted, I think, every year for however long, and I would have to look this up better, but essentially as the most credible network in the United States. And so there is that sense of credibility. It's not a reality show, thank goodness. It's a documentary series. So it's really informational and factually driven, but through the lens of my experiences. And so it really is a documentary program on the most credible network, the network that's been voted the most credible network in the United States.
But the socioeconomic status, the demographics of the audience, is it not well
It's
suited to travel?
It's perfect for cruising and for travel. It skews slightly, 45 and up. It skews higher household average income. It skews higher education, people who are
Right.
worldly, people who are curious about the world, people who are engaged in the world around them, and people who are most likely to travel. So the people who are PBS viewers who watch PBS food and travel shows, that sort of lifestyle documentary programming, those people could not be better people for travel and for cruise travel, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And so we get to see a lot of young girls in bikinis all over the deck. Is that what you're showing?
Absolutely not.
No.
First of all, it's me, bikini free all the way. So no bikinis, only maybe in the distant background. There might be some bikinis around the pool in a very, very, very distant way. It's really about my experiences. And we look, of course, again, I'm a storyteller. I'm digging for stories.
Yeah.
We go and look for stories on the ship we have access. That's something that as journalists,
Yes.
we have
Yes.
access to. We get to meet people behind the scenes on ships and learn what they do and experience, for example, on Regent 7 Seas Explorer, we get to meet the head butler, Regent 7 Seas Cruises head butler, Ronnie, and we talk to him about what his life and what his work is all about. And lots of people, if you're not in a butler suite, you might never meet a butler on Regent. So we actually get to meet Ronnie and talk to him about his life and his job and what makes that so exciting. So behind the scenes on ships, and also on shore, we look for really amazing stories. So for example, in Buenos Aires, I had dug and dug and dug, and I found this woman who is a tango dancer, and she decided she didn't like tango dance shoes, so she decided to learn how to make shoes. And so she has transformed tango
Good
shoes
Lord.
from, so as she says them, ugly black shoes into these fabulous, incredibly designed, very high-heeled dancing shoes that those of us who, those lowly ones of us who do not dance tango can just use as these fabulous shoes. So finding people makers, so we go to wineries and we meet makers, people who are really passionate about their lives and about sharing that with visitors to their shores, as it were.
Lynn, you must have just been tickled beyond pink, because of course I'm going to have to use the color pink.
Open jaw pink.
Yeah, your jaw must have dropped when you found out that you got the gig. This is incredible. I mean, major congratulations. Who gets a show? Who gets their own cruise show?
Who does? Someone who works very, very hard. I actually have a background in broadcast television. So it is my show. I developed the show. I developed the concept. I developed the graphics. Actually, one of the things that I really love is that we came up with this sort of slightly modernized, stylized Art Deco travel poster look and feel for the show. And so what it does is it brings the romance and the style of that sort of early days of cruising, and it makes it very modern. And so it brings those things together. It was no accident. It's been an awful lot of hard work, but I'm just so pleased that season 1 is spreading around the United States and Canada now, and looking forward to season 2. And anyone who has a great idea, let me know. Where should World's Greatest Cruises go next?
You won't be able to walk down the street down Broadway without people stopping you. Hey, it's the world's greatest cruise
lady. Well, it hasn't reached that point yet. And I certainly hope that PBS viewers, and I really do think, and early indications are that PBS viewers are embracing this show and the programming, and I hope that will continue, because I have lots more stories to tell, as you can imagine.
Yes, you have lots of stories to tell. Thank you for telling us the story today, and so proud of you. Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone.
So exciting.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned.
Congratulations. Stay tuned for more. Thanks, Lynn.